The global freelancing market is expected to add $2.7 trillion to the world's GDP by 2027. That's like adding one India or two Australias to the world economy. In the US alone, 39% of the workforce is currently doing freelancing in some shape or form, and that number is expected to hit 50% by 2027. Even big giants like Google rely heavily on freelancers to get their work done. While most freelancing jobs are highly technical in nature, there are some key human skills or soft skills you need in order to be successful in this space. Watch this video till the end because I will share with you 5 key soft skill areas you need to be strong if you want to be successful as a freelancer, with some tips on how you can build these skills. My name is Jameel Hye, and I've been working in management positions across South Asia, Middle East, and North America for the last 20 years. And my mission is to help you build real life skills for your job and career that they don't teach you anymore. Skill is future-proofing and constantly change managing your career. I made a video some time ago about the shrinking life cycles of jobs in today's world, and this phenomenon is particularly true for freelancing because here you're even more exposed to the constantly changing technology. Imagine a coding expert who knew C++ in 2010 cannot even survive today if he doesn't know R and Python and some of these new programming languages. And now with ChatGPT coming into the equation, the coding experts must learn AI-enabled coding, otherwise some of their jobs might be just gone in the next few years. But how do you forward learn and future-proof your career? Well, you can do a couple of things. One of them is to make a list of some key conferences happening in your technology or in your space, making a list of them and budgeting for them and making sure that you attend those. Because a lot of times, especially in very tech-oriented sectors, these conferences or events are a huge source of learning and networking where you can get in touch with other professionals, get to know about the changing trends and so on. So instead of accidentally finding about these events, be very intentional, find them ahead of time and plan and budget for them, because sometimes you may have to spend money from your own pocket to go to these conferences. But if you are a freelancer, that may be a very good investment. Another way of future proofing is by keeping an eye on what kind of projects your prospective clients are posting on platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, etc. Because that will give you an idea on what kind of new tools the customers are looking for. For example, if you're a freelancer in project management, gone are the days when Microsoft Project was the only project management tool used, because now there are a number of new project management tools which are available on the market, and some of your clients might be using them. The next important human skill to have as a freelancer is positive mindset. Positive mindset is an important skill to have, especially as a new freelancer, because you'll get a lot of rejections. You don't have enough 5-star reviews to share at that stage. You don't have a lot of work to showcase. So bottom line, you don't have a lot of social proof, which means it is only natural that you will be rejected on a lot of projects. As this happens, it's important that you don't get into a negative mindset, because this is just a part of the process. I made a video some time ago where I talked about what are the things you need to do after an unsuccessful job interview. And I think there are 2 things from that video which also apply in this case. Number 1, go through your emotional change cycle very quickly. As a freelancer, when you have a rejection, you don't have the time to go through the whole cycle of shock, anger, denial, and so on. You need to go really quickly from shock to planning and action and work on your next project, because you cannot afford to lose the momentum in that case, right? So just avoid the negative mindset. Be aware of your emotional change cycle and try to go through it very quickly so that you are wasting less time and spending more time planning and preparing for your next project. The second thing is to recognize that failure is a part of your success journey. You plan, you attempt, you fail, you improve, and you keep going through this cycle until you're successful. So don't get dejected by your failure, because remember that this failure is basically essential for you to eventually succeed. And once you recognize that, okay, this is a part of that process, you will feel less emotional and more pragmatic about working on your next project. The next skill is managing and measuring work. Managing and measuring work includes things like project management and time management. It's very important for you to understand as a freelancer how much time things take to develop, because you need to communicate those timings accurately and transparently with your clients. You cannot promise to your client that you're going to finish a project in one day and then in reality it takes 5 days. While some platforms do allow you to ask for more time from your clients, but that can often result into a negative feedback from the customer because you promised one day and you are taking 5 days. That may have put things off for your client. And this becomes even more important if you're working with a group of freelancers, because if you're managing a team, then it's important that you understand the individual capacity of your team members so that when you're committing to your client about a certain time frame, you are 100% sure that you can deliver it. This is also where you can use a number of collaboration tools now available in the space of project management like Smartsheets, Basecamp, and so on, where you can closely collaborate and make sure that your communication back to your client is as accurate as possible. Another aspect of managing and measuring work is time management. Stephen Covey, in his famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, calls this the third habit, which is putting first things first. And in that book, he has shared a very useful time management matrix where you can basically take all your tasks and compartmentalize them into urgent, non-urgent, important, non-important, so that you can filter out the not urgent, not important tasks and then focus on, of course, the urgent and important ones first, and then go in that order so that you are very much focused on getting the most important and urgent things done as quickly as possible. Another important skill area as a freelancer is critical thinking and problem solving. Remember, your client is hiring you to solve their problems because you have the technical expertise to do that. So at the heart of it, as a freelancer, you are basically operating as a problem solver. So you need to use all the problem solving tools and tricks in order to make sure that your client is satisfied. This includes writing the problem statement, doing the 5 why analysis, and so on. And I've made a lot of videos about this. I just completed a 4-part video series on critical thinking, where I've used a real life example where we have written the problem statement, understood the data, analyzed the problem, and so on. So you can watch that series to really get an idea on how you can operate as a problem solver. Because unless you have understood the problem clearly, you won't be able to put the right solution in place. And remember, defining the problem accurately is like solving 50% of the problem, because if you falter at this stage and you define the problem inaccurately, then the solution you are putting in place is not going to work. Your client won't be happy and you might get a bad review as a freelancer. So that's something which you want to avoid. So make sure you don't underestimate these problem solving tools which are available, and try to learn them and implement them as much as possible in your projects. And the final skill area is communication and teamwork. Communication, be it verbal or non-verbal, is equally important because in most cases as a freelancer, you might be working with clients who are remote and you are working with them virtually. So it's very important that you develop good communication skills. I've made 2 separate videos on verbal and non-verbal communication. And there I've also touched on how do you improve your communication in a virtual space. Teamwork is very important because if you're working with a group of freelancers, you may have a very short span of time to create that teamwork environment because the life cycle of the projects is typically small. You're not working on multi-year projects. So typically in team development, there is a concept called forming, storming, norming, and performing. But as a freelancer, you don't have a lot of time to do this. So you have to form, storm, norm, and perform very quickly. Now, what are these phases? Now, in order to go through these phases fast, you need to understand what these phases are. So let's just talk a little bit about them. So forming is a stage where your team is new. They are typically very polite with each other. They don't know. So they are just getting to find out how do they work together. There is some level of anxiety, but in general, this is a phase where the team is just getting to know each other. Storming is the phase where there is resistance, there is conflict, because that's when you have started working on a couple of tasks together. So you exactly know where the issues are. Sometimes you might think that, oh, this person is not doing his job on time, so there is a conflict. So this is the phase where the anxiety levels go high, and then there is a lot of resistance and there are a lot of tough conversations. Once you pass through this stage, you get to norming, which is where the team members get more comfortable with each other. They also get more comfortable with having conflicts because now they understand that if I challenge my colleague in a positive way, it may not result into a fight, but it may be a positive conflict to have. So this is the stage where they're getting more comfortable with each other and they are beginning to perform as a true team. And this is where the next phase of performing comes, and this is where the team knows each other very well. And this is a stage where team members may defer to the team's need rather than their own needs. So you could move away from being very personally centric to more team centric. This is also where the team becomes very interdependent and the team engagement levels go much higher. And finally, you get to the adjourning phase where there is some sadness because the team is getting disbanded, the project is over. But of course, the network that you have built over time can really help you find newer projects. So in freelancing as a team leader, it's very important for you to understand these 4 phases. And as you build your team, you are very clear on which phase are you. So your job as a team leader is to make sure that you are moving the team quickly from forming to performing so that you can get the best results out for your clients. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you have got any questions about this video or any of the other content I post on my channel, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions.